Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews, and today we have another incredibly exciting figure from the Mattel Jurassic World line, or in this case, the Lost World Jurassic Park line, because we have the Hammond Collection Parasaurolophus, and this is a figure I'm really excited to check out because we have recently taken a look at both the Velociraptor as well as the Baryonyx. I thought the Baryonyx was completely incredible. The Velociraptor had a few issues, but I still liked it overall. I feel like it's okay, just not quite as nice as the Baryonyx is. The Parasaurolophus, though, definitely looks really nice from what I've seen so far. As far as the packaging art, though, you can see we have the nice Hammond Collection logo here, the Jurassic logo up there, as well as the Parasaurolophus title right there. And then once we turn this around, first of all, we've got a nice Hammond Collection logo on the side. And then over here on the opposing side, we have a really nice image of the Parasaurolophus figure with the Lost World Jurassic Park logo. And then here on the back, yet another really nice image of the Parasaurolophus figure, again with the Lost World Jurassic Park logo, as well as an image of the Lost World Jurassic Park scene where we see the Parasaurolophus, and they're just kind of like trying to capture all sorts of different dinosaurs. And it does have some information down here. Let's go ahead, pop this out of the box, and check it out. So here is our Parasaurolophus from the Hammond collection. I have the tail kind of bent over a little bit, so it looks a little awkward. And this thing is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely a beautiful, beautiful figure. I thought a few times from seeing some other images of other people's that the tail looked a little bit short, potentially. But actually having it here, it doesn't look too bad. Maybe a little bit too short, but Parasaurolophus didn't really have that long of a tail to begin with. And I think what kind of makes it look a little bit short maybe is just the larger body that kind of transitions to this really, like, it's a quick drop to that area of the tail. So that transition isn't the smoothest in the world, and I think that kind of makes the tail look a little bit smaller than it actually is. But I can say completely that the sculpt is phenomenal on this, and the paintwork as well is extremely nice. So let's go ahead and jump straight to a closer look right now. So starting up here at the head sculpt of the Parasaurolophus, you can see some beautiful skin detail, really quite abundant through the head sculpt of the dinosaur. You can also see that we have some nice color variation. Really nice paint job for this figure. I love how we have like a really light tint of the red kind of running up over the top of the head right there. Some nice brown there that kind of splotches around the eye, kind of speckles right behind it. The eye is painted with a very nice brown, given a black pupil. Fantastic gloss coat on the eye, making the eye look nice and lifelike, like you would expect to see. You can see the nostrils sculpted out up here on the beak of our Parasaurolophus. Moving up into the crest, look at that detail. That is phenomenal sculpt and detail on the part of Mattel. Definitely nailed it as far as the detailing aspect goes in the crest of our Parasaurolophus. As you move down here into the mouth, you can see that we do actually have an articulated jaw on our Parasaurolophus. You've got a really nice tongue on the inside of the mouth. Pretty adorable looking, actually. Nice tone of color in there. Nice realistic tone, as well as a gloss coat to add that extra bit of realism with the saliva-like look. Super precise paintwork, too, as you run down the beak right there. As you lead back here a little bit further into the body, again, you start to see some more really nice skin detail. You can also see that we have this nice red streak picking up, as well as a kind of like a dark purple that sort of, borders on the red streak there running along the course of the Parasaurolophus. You can also see kind of like some speckles and stuff, your usual Mattel paintwork. You can see a really smooth transition from the kind of yellowish tone of the Parasaurolophus to this really nice off-white or like a light yellow of the underside. You can also see the throat very nicely elaborated there on the underside of the dinosaur. You can also see some fantastic kind of like creasing and everything through the course of the neck. The skin texture truly is phenomenal on this Parasaurolophus. As you move back here into the body, the skin texture continues to look very nice. I like how it has just like a lot of like creasing and, cracks and crevices there. As you move back into the stomach, though, you see some pretty large scaling here in the stomach region of the Parasaurolophus, which looks really nice. You can also see that we have some brown speckles here on the lower side of the stomach that kind of speckles up toward the stomach, even up here into the shoulder area of the dinosaur. Moving down here into the arm, we do have some nice brown stripes as we lead down the arm. Kind of like a purplish brown. It's a very interesting color. You can also see the arm is actually in very awkward position there. I had to turn it, but as you move down the arm, the Muscle definition looks very nice. The skin texture looks very nice. We could see some more kind of like speckles and everything moving down into the hand. The sculpt of the hand looks very nice, kind of like a scoot-like appearance down the fingers. And the nails actually don't have paint on them, which is really surprising because that's the first time I think I've seen that on any of these Hammond collection figures where the hand didn't have nail paint, which again is actually quite shocking to me. But again, moving back up here into the body, as you look up here at the top, you continue to see that red streak running down the back of the Parasaurolophus, but you also see kind of like a nice off-white or like a light yellow streak picking up here running along the back as well, which of course is bordered on both sides by that kind of like purplish tone, that very dark purple. It kind of looks like a brown from a little bit further away, but when you get it in a nice light, it does have definitely a purplish tint. And then moving down into the thigh, we get some more striping here running along the back of the thigh, some more of that nice lighter tone of color here running along the back of the thigh, but that darker kind of a yellowish brown sort of a tone here for the front of the thigh, and the transition between those colors is incredibly smooth. The skin texture also looks incredible moving down the course of the thigh. We have some nice muscle definition present. The calf muscle as well is very nicely elaborated. As you move down the course of the leg, down into the feet of the Parasaurolophus, you see more scoots down the toes. We do have painted nails down here and they look very nice. Nice blackish tone to the nails with a nice gloss coat as well. Moving back up here, you can see some fantastic skin creasing right behind the thigh. Again, as we lead out into the tail, we do have that lighter tone of color, but it does end before we reach the tail, which is a little bit of a downside, but considering the rest of the figure has some fantastic paintwork, I don't think it takes away from it too much. We do have more of that streak. Boy, the tail's really stiff. More of those kind of like very dark purplish streaks, though, moving out into the tail here. They do disappear about halfway out into the tail, maybe a little less than halfway, but the skin texture and everything continues to look incredible. We do have a wire tail on this as well, like we usually do when it comes to, of course, the previous Amber collection and now the Hammond collection, but you can see that the eye and everything and all of the paintwork and sculpt work of the face looks great over here like it did on the initial side. Moving down through the course of the body, again, you're really not going to see much difference over here because this is just a fully articulated figure. It's pretty much in a neutral position, and it's up to you to kind of pose it and display it how you would like, but it is an absolutely gorgeous version of a Lost World Jurassic Park style Parasaurolophus. All of the paintwork looks incredibly precise, very nice, naturally applied, and this is definitely a really, really nice figure. And having the Parasaurolophus here now, as well as the Baryonyx and the Velociraptor, it has me so psyched for the future of this line. This is easily the most exciting line that Mattel has out currently. As far as articulation goes on our Parasaurolophus, of course we do have the jaw articulation, which is a little hard to actually open, but you can see it's just kind of hard to get a hold of, but it works really smoothly. You do also have the neck articulation right here, kind of at the top of the neck. It can work pretty nicely. It doesn't really go up and down though, but it does turn left and right. I would have preferred to see more up and down motion, but we also have the articulation in the neck at the bottom of the neck, and that works great, really, really nicely done. And you can also swivel that, of course, as well. You do have the articulation in the arms, can go forward and back, out away from the body. We also have articulation in the elbows, which works really nicely. Yep, can definitely swivel that as well. And then moving back into the legs, you have thigh articulation, as well as knee articulation. Can it swivel? Yes, it can. And then we also have articulation down here. Can also move very nicely forward and back as well, so you can create a lot of really nice poses for the Parasaurolophus. And then we do have the swivel tail, but it's super stiff on mine, as well as, again, the bendable wire tail, so you can kind of articulate that how you would like. I'm really curious how the balance is on this Parasaurolophus, since the balance of the Raptor as well as the Baryonyx was so good. We'll see how it balances kind of standing up in a bipedal position. And standing, look at that. Definitely standing pretty nicely. I feel like it's a little awkward looking as far as the stance goes, but let me try to get the feet. The feet just didn't want to stay. So there we go. Now we have our Parasaurolophus standing, and it definitely stands really nicely even in a bipedal position. Seems pretty solid to me. Of course, the figure straight out of the box, you really never can tell until, a few weeks or a few months down the road, but as of right now, the balance is fantastic. All of the joints work wonderfully, and the figure as a whole is really, really beautiful. I'm going to go ahead and put it back down in a bipedal position because I just feel like that's the nicest position for a Parasaurolophus to get a measurement. So as far as a length goes for our Parasaurolophus, you're looking at a little bit under, or actually almost just on, about 12 3/4 inches, very close, or around 32, approaching 32.5 centimeters, but not quite. And then for a height, again, in the bipedal positioning that it's currently in, a little bit over 5 inches, or right around the 13 centimeter area. For a size comparison, we have Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, as well as Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line here, checking out a size next to the Parasaurolophus, and you can definitely see that the Parasaurolophus as a whole sports a really nice size, and definitely a very impressive size. The Hammond collection Velociraptor is really quite small, but the Baryonyx sports some really nice size, and the Parasaurolophus, I think, is probably the largest overall. And then for another comparison, there is the Baryonyx, the Raptor, and the Parasaurolophus, all from the Hammond collection next to each other, and I can definitely see, I take back that comment about the size. The Baryonyx is actually quite a bit longer than the Parasaurolophus, although I think the Parasaurolophus has a bit more body mass, but you can definitely get a good idea overall as far as how all of them size up to each other. They really do look incredible, and although in my Raptor review I definitely had a little bit of like an iffy issue with the feet and everything, the longer I have the figure here, the more I look at it, the more it's growing on me, and the less I'm minding the larger feet. And definitely starting to really like that Raptor as well. So super excited to check out everything in the future from the Hammond collection, but all of these figures here are really nicely done. And then for another size comparison, you can see what the Hammond collection Parasaurolophus looks like in comparison to the I believe this might have been the Roarivore version, I'm not too sure, but I can recall again it being one of the obvious mainline versions of the Parasaurolophus from Mattel. I feel like the sizes are actually really quite similar. They could definitely make a really cool herd of Parasaurolophus if you put them all together as far as the different Mattel Parasaurolophus releases up until this point. And then you've also got a comparison between the basic Parasaurolophus next to the Hammond collection when it comes to the Mattel Parasaurolophus. Obviously, the Hammond collection wins every single round that we've seen when it comes to these other Mattel Parasaurolophus. Even though they are really quite nice, this Hammond collection version is fantastic. So this brand new Mattel Jurassic World Hammond collection Parasaurolophus is another fantastic Hammond collection release, and man, am I ever psyched for all of the future figures coming from this line, because there's just so many good ones that Mattel is already working on and planning on releasing, not even far off into the future. And seeing how good the last few are, man, I can't wait to see what else. Like specifically the Ceratosaurus, I am just dying to see that Ceratosaurus and get a hold of it. Like, the anticipation is literally killing me. If Mattel announces that they're going to be making a Carnotaurus like this, which I would imagine they probably are, I think my head might explode, to be honest. But this Parasaurolophus, again, the sculpt is incredibly nice. The sculpt overall beautifully resembles the Lost World Jurassic Park Parasaurolophus. They really did a fantastic job on the figure as a whole. I love the fact that with these larger ones, the feet don't look all that large in comparison to the body. Like the Raptor's feet, although I am getting used to it, kind of warming up to it, they definitely are a bit larger than they should be, but the larger animals like the Baryonyx and Parasaurolophus, the feet and the proportions look a lot better. I think the tail, again, might be a little bit small, but not by much, if at all. And again, it might just be like the transition from the larger part of the body down into the tail, making it look like it's a little bit smaller. But as a whole, I think the sculpt looks great. The paint job as well is fantastic. When it comes to a Mattel paint job, you really don't see many as nice as this. The only thing that could have improved the figure as far as the paint goes would have been some paint on the nails of the hands, but it's like a small area. The nails are really small. It doesn't really bother me that much. The articulation as well is fantastic. It works really smoothly, works very nicely. The balance of the figure is really well done. And honestly, everything on this figure, like, I really don't have a complaint about this Parasaurolophus. I just absolutely love it. And again, Can't wait to see everything else in the future from the Hammond collection. So if you are interested in this, I will include links in the description to both the Amazon listing for this as well as the Target listing. I believe the Amazon listing is currently sold out, but I'm sure it'll come back at some point. The Target listing still states pre-order for some reason, but that should, again, go live fairly soon, I would imagine, when they start shipping those pre-orders. One way or another, again, I really recommend picking this up. You can always find it in store as well. It's a fantastic release from Mattel. So make sure you grab this, and make sure you also like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.